Hey guys, I'm Laura, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a really fun pair of Wacky wrap gemstone earrings. Okay guys, I'm so excited to show you these Wacky Wrap gemstone earrings. These are one of the first earring styles that I really branched out into once I started making jewelry. They're really fun and they're really easy once you get the hang of it. They're great if you're just learning how to wire wrap and you're kind of getting your technique down. I also really love the gemstone chips that we're using in these earrings. Gemstone chips are a really great alternative to round beads. They're good filler beads, but they're great funky, unique shapes, and they're all different and they all have their own personality. I also love exploring different wire tones with these earrings, mixing different wire tones with different gemstones because the wire really pops on these earrings. We have a really great set of Colorcraft wire that comes in all kinds of colors, like red, green, blue, any color you want is in that pack. But you can also use gold and copper and silver too, but I like contrasting the wire with the different gemstones. All right, so let's talk about the tools and supplies that we're going to use for this project. First, let's talk about these gemstone chips. This is amazonite, and it is one of the strands that comes in this really awesome 10-strand set of gemstone chips, and all different kinds of gemstones, some kind of unique gemstones that you don't see very often, and this is one of my favorite colors of gemstones. It's that light sky blue mixed in with some greens, and you've got a really good play of color and variety of color in these stones, but you can use any gemstones you want. For our wire, we're going to be using any color, any metal type, 20 gauge wire. As long as it's 20 gauge wire, you can use it. We've got a really great set of Colorcraft wire that comes in a huge variety of colors. And then we also have some different Parawire sets. This is one of the colors that comes in a Parawire set, and it's called Blue Steel, and I love it. It's a really dark color, but you get that flash of blue in the light, and I love it paired with the amazonite. Okay, for our tools, we're using kind of your most basic jewelry making tools. We're going to use a round nose plier, a chain nose plier, and a cutter. And those are kind of like the trifecta, the three most important jewelry making tools. I also have my handy dandy Nylon Jaw Plier, which is one of my favorite tools that exists in the jewelry world, especially if you're doing a lot of wire wrapping. It has a nylon jawed tip on it, and you can use it to pull your wire straight and pull any kinks out of your wire, and it really saves you a lot of wire and a lot of scrap. So that's why I love that tool. I'm also going to be using our six-step bail shaping plier. We're going to use this to make our own ear wires, so I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in this project too. All right, let's get started. One of the first things we're gonna do when we start this pair of earrings is to pick out which gemstone chips we wanna use. What I love about these strands of gemstone chips is the huge variety of sizes and shapes that come on each strand. So I wanted to kind of have a tapered shape. So I wanted to taper and get wider in the middle and then taper down and get smaller at the bottom. And you have all the sizes in this strand to be able to do that. So I just have picked out some really nice sizes and again tapered them to the widest in the middle and then tapered them down to the smallest at the bottom. I also tried to pick gemstones from this set where the hole is more towards the middle of the gemstone. That's going to be important when you're doing your wire wrapping. If your hole is too close to the edge, there's a chance of breaking a stone, or it just doesn't hang right on your earring. So being careful and selective when picking out your gemstones is a good tip. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut 2 feet of this 20 gauge Parawire. It's the blue steel color, and I love this color. It's one of my favorite Parawire colored wires. Parawire is an incredible brand of craft wire, and what I love about this is the color does not come off. That blue color is there to stay. You're not gonna have to worry about it chipping. And Parawire is just an awesome wire in general. So if you don't have any of this colored Parawire, you need to get some. Okay, so we've got 2 feet of our 20 gauge wire cut, and I'm just gonna take my nylon jawed pliers here, and I'm just gonna pull this out and straighten any kinks out of it. It just makes for a nicer looking finished piece. You don't have any weird kinks sticking out or anything like that. I just like to get it as smooth as possible before I start. So now we are gonna string our gemstones. We're gonna work from the bottom up. So we're gonna start at our smallest gemstone here and string that on and work our way up. String these on really quickly. And these gemstone chips have really great drill hole sizes. So if you're familiar with making jewelry and using beads, you know how important that is when it comes to stringing your beads and using a heavier gauge wire. And these are fantastic. As you can see, I'm not having any trouble getting these on this 20 gauge wire. There we go. Okay. All right, so I have my gemstones strung. I'm gonna do a little trick, show you guys a little something I do to make my life easier. I make myself a little curly cue with my chain nose pliers on the end of each end of the wire. This way my beads don't fall off and I can work easily without having to worry about that. So just get it folded up like that, and that'll save me a lot of headache. Okay, so we're gonna start about a third of the way down our wire here. So it doesn't have to be exact, I just wanna give myself enough room to work up, and then I wanna have enough wire left to be able to do my wraps. So about a third of the way down, we're gonna grab our bottom bead here, and we're gonna bend this longer tail up around the gemstone and get it nice and tight on there, like that. Pull this guy straight so it's going straight up. And then we're just gonna do 2 wraps of this longer tail of wire here. And this is the only tricky part because there's not a lot for you to hold on to down at the bottom. But if you just get at least 2 little wraps on there and just get them as tight as you can, it gets a lot easier from here. Okay, so I've got 2 nice coils on there, and I'm gonna slide my next gemstone down here and do the same thing. Pull my wire up and around my gemstone, and keeping that gemstone pushed down next to that coil is gonna help us not have too much movement in our gemstone. That's kind of an important thing when you're wire wrapping any gemstones, is trying to eliminate too much movement in your gemstone. When you're finished, that just helps kind of stabilize the entire piece, and it keeps your gemstones from catching on things and pulling your earring or whatever it is you're making. So I'm gonna slide my next bead down, pull my wire up here, give it another 2 twists, and again, next gemstone. See how I'm getting that pushed down nice and close on my gemstone? It really is gonna hold that gemstone in place. There's a couple twists. Pull this nice and tight. And I love how they kind of sit at fun angles, funky angles. It kind of adds a lot of movement to the earring and a lot of visual interest. It kind of keeps your eye traveling up and down the earring as you're looking at it, and it draws the eye in towards the earring. So like if you're selling your jewelry and you're wanting to make some eye-catching pieces so that people stop and look, this is a great way to do that, because they're funky and unique, and the style just draws your eye in. That out of the way a little bit. And now we have got our last gemstone. And we are going to Wrap this guy just like we did the other ones. 2 little wraps. And then we are ready to trim this tail off. If you'll notice, I had a lot, well, not a lot, but like 8 inches of extra wire. I like to do that because it helps me really get a good grip on my wire when I'm wrapping. If I just have a little tiny piece of wire to wrap with, it's kind of hard for me to get a good nice wrap. I can really get a good grip on this excess wire and pull it nice and tight. That's one thing that I do for any type of wire wrapping, is give myself a little extra wire to work with. And I would rather have too much wire than not enough and have to start over. Okay, so now we are ready to make our loop up at the top. So we're going to use this wire to make our loop, and we're going to grab our round nose pliers here, and we're going to grab right on that coil that we just made and make our loop. Like this, and now we're going to close it off. And just wrap down towards that little gemstone there at the top. We can clip that off. And I just like to go in and tuck my tails in, make sure I don't have any little pieces of wire sticking out that are gonna get caught in your hair or on your clothes. All right, so we are ready to make our ear wires. We are gonna cut about 4 inches of our 20 gauge wire, and we're gonna try to make these together at the same time. That really helps to make really consistent, same shape, same size ear wires, making them both at the same time. And we're gonna use our 6-step bail shaping plier for this. For the small loop, we're gonna use the first step, the smallest step on this tool. This is such a great tool. Look at all, I mean, it's got so many different sizes. You can make any size loop you want with these earrings. And you can make some really cool, interesting ear wires. So I've got my wires together and they're lined up so that their ends are right in the same place. And I'm just gonna clip these at the very end of these with my flush cutter and make sure I've got a nice flush cut down there at the bottom. I don't want any points or jagged edges like that. So I will grab the end of the wire, both pieces, with my bail shaping plier, and my smallest mandrel or smallest step that I'm using is on the outside of these ear wires, and so I'm gonna hold my wire here, and I'm going to, gripping this nice and tight, roll towards that mandrel, roll towards the outside, and just keep rolling until your wires meet back here. And sometimes they don't want to roll together, so you may just have to adjust one. But see, I've got 2 perfectly shaped loops here, same size, same shape, super consistent. And then now I'm gonna line these up together. And for the part that goes through your ear, we're gonna use the biggest step on this pair of pliers. So I'm gonna come up a little ways from my loops because I want to give these earrings some room to dangle from your earlobe. So I'm gonna come up about 4 millimeters from the loop that I just made. I just let these go. Let me get them back together. Okay, so I'm gonna come up about 3 or 4 millimeters from those loops, and I'm just gonna wrap these around my plier and give them a nice swoop like that. And now we're just gonna clip these tails here. I'm gonna turn, so when you're wanting a really nice flush cut on your wire, you want to cut with the flat side facing towards your, like, the blunt cut that you want. So if I were to do it this way, my ear wires would be at a point. If I go this way, my ear wires are gonna have a really blunt end. So try to hold these together and just give them a nice cut. And there we go, we've got 2 matching ear wires. And you can make them whatever shape you want, whatever size you want. Once you know kind of the gist of how to make ear wires, you can really make them your own and add your own personal style to them. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna attach these to our earrings. So I'm gonna grab an ear wire here, open up that little loop, drop my earring on, and close that up. And now we're gonna do the same thing on the last one. Open our loop up, drop our earring on, and close our loop. And we're done. Okay, so here's our finished amazonite earrings, and as you can see, there are so many options for different styles of earrings you can make with this wacky wrap technique. You can use different types of gemstones, different wire tones. The possibilities are endless. Let's go over the tools and supplies that we use today to make these earrings. First, we've got our amazonite gemstone chips. We've got our 20 gauge parawire. We have our flush cutters, our round nose pliers, our chain nose pliers, our 6-step bail shaping plier, and our nylon jaw plier. So like I said before, the possibilities are endless with this wacky wrap technique. Let us know in the comments below what you would make using this style. And while you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'll see you next time.